What's up, Penny?
What's going on?
Uh, First off, expectations to start the year.
Well, hopefully we have everybody eligible, that these waivers go through and that we get our guys, everybody out on the floor. And, to be older, for the freshmen to be 1 year removed from, not knowing what was going on to having a full year of what's going on. The expectations are definitely still the same, man. We want to win. We want to win at a high level. We understand that we finished fifth 2 years in a row in this conference. The conference is hard enough, but with them understanding what's going on now, man, feel really good about this team.
Okay. Next question is Teresa Walker, Associated Press.
Good morning, Coach. There's been a lot of talk of maybe trying to do what the NBA has done with the bubble. Is that maybe possible for college basketball? And if there was, have you had any thoughts about what it might look like?
Man, I've been trying to figure that out because it's obviously easy to go to Disney and do what the NBA did. Not easy as far as getting it done because I'm sure it took a lot of work, but it's much easier for the NBA to go into that bubble than actually colleges. So I don't know, maybe pods in certain areas of like maybe 4 or 5 teams in this pod or 6 teams and 6 teams in another pod or something like that in 2 different locations. Maybe that's doable. And maybe doing them for maybe a week or 2 at a time, playing a certain amount of games and getting retested after you come back or something like that. It's possible. It's not gonna be easy.
Okay, Mike Sadie.
You're on mute, Mike.
Yeah, you're better at this stuff than I am. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. You were saying you were hopeful that the season would start on time. The NCAA said it hopes to know by mid-September whether practice in the season would start. But the Pac-12 has already pushed everything back until January. Is your expectation that that's probably what college basketball is going to look like, that it's going to be a January conference-only type thing in 2021?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we haven't heard any news from our conference yet because I've seen other conferences around the country try to do something outside of their own conference with other teams that really want to play. But, yeah, I think it seems more feasible to do it in January because everybody's trying to figure out football first and then to see how it's going to go. And I'm thinking I just want to get some ball in. Even if it's January, I'm okay with that.
Okay, Mark Giannotto. Mark Giannotto.
Sorry, the screen froze. Penny, I'm curious just with how it's been, the starting off-season workouts late and everything, how have they gone, with the different restrictions that you've had? Do you feel like you're probably behind where you would be in a normal year, but how much progress have you been able to make as compared to, say, last year when it was all normal?
Well, what we've done for the first 3.5 weeks and then starting today, we've done all individual things. We're trying to get the fundamentals down. We're trying to get everybody doing what they need to do individually to get their skill set better, along with teaching them what we want to do. So it's been 1 player per basket, per coach for 10 minutes, and then they rotate. And that's been enough time for us to really get some great work in on their own individual talent. And then starting this Thursday, we're going to do more team. But it's been weird to wear a mask and have to have 1 player at the basket at a time. But we've worked it out, and they're working on a lot of skill development in that process. And it is tougher to start this late because, we had the youngest team in the NCAA last year, and then we have some transfers, so we wanted to get the guys together much earlier.
Okay, Danielle Lerner.
Hey, Penny, I'm Danielle. I'm taking over for Drew at the Daily Memphian. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I was wondering if you can give us an update on the assistant coaching search.
It's been really weird because I've been doing everything through Zoom, and I've interviewed about 16 guys and a few guys a couple times, and it's probably going to come down within the next week or so making a decision. But it's been difficult because we have a lot of great candidates, and I wanted to be sure that I make the right choice, and whatever choice I make is going to be the best choice for the university, for myself, and for the boys. So it hadn't been easy because I've had so many great applicants that have applied for the job that want to be a part of this.
Okay, Terry Davis.
Hey, Coach, last year, Precious was one of your most consistent go-to players late. Who are you going to look for to be a go-to player late? Is that something you can teach them, or is it something that's desired within the player?
I think to answer that last part, it's the desire within the player. But you can also utilize guys, their talent, and put them in position to get easy shots or get better looks at the basket than trying to go one-on-one. But DJ Jeffries right now is the guy that comes out first. And if Landers Nolly is eligible, he's been proven in the ACC averaging 16 points a game. He's another guy. But those two guys, especially with DJ being eligible now, DJ is our guy. He's the guy that's going to have to carry the load. He's the guy that came in with a lot of promise. Unfortunately, he got hurt. But now he's healthy. He's looking great. And he's ready to go. But you can't teach a guy to have that. You saw Luka Doncic last night. You can't teach that. It just got to be in you, man, when you want those last-second shots and you want the ball in your hand with the game on the line.
Okay, Anthony Robinson. Anthony, I think you're muted. Okay, we'll come back to Anthony. Gary Parrish.
Hey, Penny, good to see you.
Good to see you, too.
I apologize if I missed this earlier. I jumped in when you were talking about bubble possibilities, but I'm interested. How often are you in contact with the American Athletic Conference? Are they guiding you throughout this process?
Yeah, well, we've only had a couple of discussions. We had two coaches meetings with Nate Palmaday and all of the head coaches 2 times over the pandemic. Then I spoke with Nate last week, and they really don't have it figured out yet. They're just kind of waiting to see what everyone else does while kind of discussing what the possibilities are. And, they're just waiting. So hopefully within the next week or so, we'll have something a little more stable to understand where we're headed in our conference.
Okay, if anybody else has any questions, if you want to just go over to the chat and just type in question, that's kind of helping me keep them in order. Anthony Robinson, I'm going to try you again if you are available.
I think he's frozen.
I think.
Oh, there it is.
Anthony, I think you're muted. Okay, we'll go to Terry Davis.
Hey, Coach, all your new guys been cleared through clearing house. Everybody ready to go, including Musa, most importantly, so far?
Yeah, that's been big for us for Musa to be out on the floor. He's been out of basketball for a while now, just at home waiting to make a decision, and then made a decision and had to finish things up and get cleared. But now having him in the building, the excitement that he has, and the guys love him, and man, such a huge physical specimen. I mean, this kid, he's very athletic. He's a nice kid. He works hard, and it's great to have him on campus and have all the other guys here as well.
Jason Munns.
Morning, Penny. How are you?
Morning.
So I know you've been through this the last couple of seasons with Lance and Isaiah, sort of being in limbo with the transfer waiver statuses. Mm-hmm. Is that getting old at all, sort of having to wait so long to find out? And then B, how do you prepare any differently? And I know it's still early. I mean, we don't know exactly how early yet, but it is still early. But do you prepare differently, not knowing whether you'll have guys like Landers and DeAndre available to you for the season?
Yeah, to answer the first part of that question, it is difficult to wait so long to find out if guys are going to be eligible, especially when you're looking around the country and seeing other guys be eligible. So we're just waiting patiently. But I don't prepare differently. I prepare like these guys are going to be there. I think that would be unfair to them to be like, hey, man, we don't know if you're going to be eligible or not, so we're not going to go gung-ho with this. I think we prepare as if they're going to be eligible, and then if something happens, then we'll be able to adjust because we treat everyone the same when it comes to the plays and the positions, and there's multiple guys playing multiple positions, so we keep everything the same.
Okay, Anthony Robinson thinks he's got his mic working now.
Nope.
Sorry, Anthony. Mike Sadie.
Penny, a couple of questions. The first one, have you given any thought, as horrible it is to think about, what it would mean if there was no NCAA tournament again. Has that even creeped into your mind and into what it would mean for college basketball this year? I'll let you answer that, and then I'll have another quick one.
Yeah, it has crept into my mind, man. Last year was a huge shock and a huge disappointment for a lot of reasons for a lot of teams, especially the seniors that didn't get an opportunity and the guys that were going to be one and done that didn't get an opportunity to go to the NCAA tournament. To come a full season again and have that happen, man, would be devastating as well, because that's our deal. That's what you're playing so hard, practicing so hard to try to win a championship, and to not have that happen would definitely crush us again.
And then just your thoughts on James and Precious now that we know how the lottery has played itself out. Just what are you hearing? What do you think would be the best fit for James atop that lottery? And then how confident are you that in those top 14 picks, we're going to have Precious's name? And what would it mean for the program to be able to claim 2 lottery picks in this draft?
Yeah, for James first, I feel like he's the number 1 pick in the draft. I think he has high upside. He didn't get to play this year, and those are question marks, but he works his butt off, man. He's a unicorn. That's why he calls himself. He's rare. He's a guy that he's going to be the fastest guy on the floor, up and down the floor. He's going to protect the rim. He's definitely an instant assist under the rim because of his athleticism. And he's going to work on getting his shot to where he can get out to the three-point line and be a threat from out there as well. And I'm not just saying that because I coached him. I just know the NBA and what they're looking for. So, to me, he's the number 1 pick overall, and that's Minnesota. So, I think Minnesota, him and Cat, they could work really well together. And Karl Anthony Towns, they would be an unbelievable twosome. The way the league is going now, they're both mobile. They're both active. And I think that there will be a difference maker of having 2 rim protectors and guys that are highly skilled out on the perimeter. Precious, it would be huge for us for him to go in the top 14, top 15, and be a part of that procedure. As far as he worked so hard. He was Player of the Year and Rookie of the Year in the conference, and we don't take that lightly, especially us finishing 5th. That shows that the coaches in that league really respected his game and what he brought to the table. And to me, he's a two-way player. He's a guy that's going to defend anybody on the floor. And then with his athleticism and how fast he is getting up and down the floor in transition, and that's the league's game. So I'm hoping that happens for the both of them.
Okay, Danielle Lerner.
Did you know that Jaden was going to change his number from 25 to 1? And, did you have a discussion about it? What do you think about it?
No, we did have a discussion because he wanted to be number 1. He didn't want to bring my jersey out of retirement this year, but we respected Tyler. Tyler had number 1 and wanted number 1. And so Tyler had it. And with Tyler being gone, Jaden was like, I want to slide back to number 1. So, yeah, we spoke about it for sure.
Mark Giannotto.
Yeah, Penny, you mentioned how much you're looking forward to having an older team this year. How will you coach how do you coach an older team differently than a younger team? What will change in how you approach it this year?
We kind of cut corners in areas that we had to really teach a lot on last year. I think the biggest thing is that we had the number 1 opponent's field goal percentage in the country. That lets me know that what we worked on defensively, the guys locked in and understood. So when you're coming back with that, that's where you lay your foundation. So you don't have to talk about that as much. Guys understand being on the nail, being a low man, how to rotate, how to cover for each other, how to talk. And then you bring those other guys in, like Landers and DeAndre. These guys have already been through that on their respective teams. At Virginia Tech, they taught the same thing. At Evansville, they taught the same thing, Walter McCarty. So these guys are already ahead of the game. When you have all those freshmen coming in, you have to go right back to the basics. And we don't have to teach all of that over again. So we can jump ahead to some other things, which makes it better having an older team.
You mentioned DJ already. Some of the other guys, your impressions of them since they've come back compared to where they were at the end of last season, I'm curious.
Well, it's noticeable that I see a chip on Boogie's shoulders and Lester's shoulders. And the same thing with Damian. Those guys felt like they didn't produce the way that they wanted to produce in the hopes that they had coming into the season, especially Boogie. And you can see how hungry he is and how hard he worked, and the same thing with Lester and Damian. So those 3 guys jumped out right away, especially Boogie and Lester, because you can just tell they had these huge chips on their shoulders coming into this, back to school.
Okay, Terry Davis.
Yeah, I know it's like a fluid schedule. What's the deal with Memphis Madness? Do you have any preliminaries? How you going to do it, virtual, or are you going to cancel it at all?
Well, we've canceled it. for the public. We're not going to be able to do that. It's just going to be too hard to do that at the FedEx Forum. Virtually, we might still try to do something, but actually going to the arena, I think that's out.
Jason Munns. Jason.
All right. Yeah. Sorry. I was wondering, there were some guys last year that had to sort of float between roles a little bit here and there. Lance Thomas being one of them. And there were a couple of others. So do you see anybody's roles, or are everybody's roles kind of clearly defined at this stage? And if so, or if not, will there be any major differences as far as roles guys are going to play this year compared to last?
I think last year with James leaving and Malcolm, still being injured, wasn't really 100%. He was out on the floor, wasn't 100%. We had to play some guys out of position. And this year, with having the true bigs and true forwards and true wings, guys will go back to natural positions and be out on the perimeter more, because you have fives that are on the roster this year, where we didn't have a lot of fives on the roster last year. So with Isaiah Stokes being out last year, with James leaving, and Malcolm being injured, it kind of put DJ, Precious, and Lance in tough positions to play other positions. And we did that. And the guys, I get nothing but respect for those guys of just playing wherever we needed them to play to make things work. So this year I think it'll be different because we have a full roster, and we haven't had a full roster going into the season in a while.
Okay, Jason, do you have a follow-up?
Yeah, quick follow-up. You mentioned Isaiah Stokes. Just wanted to pick your brain about him and Ahmad Rand. They're going to go a long way toward bolstering your interior presence. So how are they looking? I mean, I know there's been a lot of talk of Isaiah, just how good he was in practices last year and everything. So if you could just kind of give an overview of those two guys.
Yeah, to start with Isaiah. Isaiah has the best footwork out of anyone on this team. He's probably our best low post presence. He can stretch it out to three as well, and he's a physical presence. So we definitely need that inside physicality that he brings. He likes to hit. He loves to be physical down there offensively, on the offensive end and the defensive end, and he can stretch it out to three. Ahmad being one of the best shot blockers in the country with his athleticism, those two guys could possibly play together to where, Ahmad can stretch it out as well to 15, 16 feet, but he's more of a defensive-minded guy that's going to protect the rim. So it gives us more options this year.
Okay, Anthony, we'll give you one more try. Oh, no. I still don't hear anything. Okay, Mark Giannotto, last question.
Yeah, Penny, you've obviously had some pretty significant recruiting success during this uncertain period. Mm-hmm. Is there any secret to your Zoom success or FaceTime? Is there anything you've kind of picked up in terms of habits or things that you've found that really work now that this has kind of become sort of the new normal for recruiting for a little while at least?
The biggest thing for us is that we have the NBA behind us. We have the credibility of where these guys really want to go. And if you understand these younger guys, they really want to go to the NBA. So that gives us a leg up on a lot of things. And then our Zoom video that we show these kids, it's about 45 minutes long, 50 minutes long. It's incredible. Cody Topper put together an incredible video from start to finish on how our fans are, how our practices are, how our games are. Been the number one defensive field goal percentage team in the country. Our development. The kids really want development and teaching. They want to know what it takes and what it's like to go to the next level. And that's something that they're very hungry for. And that's been an advantage for us with these kids because that's all they talk about is NBA. And we can talk the language. We can put them in position. And the Zoom calls have been mostly about that. They respect that I played at a high level, that Cody's coached at a high level and did development, and that we have that, that angle that's really intriguing to a lot of families and a lot of kids.